Shawn, you know, have your system is all designed for family meetings. Why don't you walk us through, you know, you have the 6 different pieces to that. Tell us some more about how that works to make those family meetings, you know, meaningful and much easier to conduct.
Yeah, and you know, Tom and I are old friends. We've had this conversation, and I respectfully disagree with a little bit of his business model. A lot of that work, assessments, explaining why we're together, we do ahead of time. So we noticed a few things. I interviewed Roy Williams back in 2007, God rest his soul, and I talked to him about some of the things that he found when we identified the reasons why wealth transfers fail and family meetings, like just as Tom absolutely correctly alluded to, are the best way to help mitigate wealth transfer failure and attack those 6 reasons. I interviewed Roy for some time and asked him, you know, what are some of the things that you'd like to see better happen with family meetings? And he highlighted that much of the next generation comes in very guarded, not understanding exactly what they're going to be doing during that time. They don't really feel like they've had a lot of input. And him and I had a very extended conversation over a course of several months as to how we can get the next generation more engaged right out of the gate. So what we've done actually is before we even engage with a family, we complete our digital assessment, and it's 40 questions. It tells us where they're weak, where they're strong. So we know exactly what their baseline is, if they even have a need for our More Than Money 360 platform. So we start with that before we even engage with them. So we complete that assessment, and then they say, yep, let's go. So the first thing we do then is we get the entire family together on a Zoom meeting. Again, we're very attractive to that busy, geographically dispersed family. So we do a lot through online meetings, and we have since 2012. So we get everybody on a Zoom meeting. We have a presentation we do. We call it More Than Money: the what, the why, the how. What the heck is it? Why the heck should I care? And how are we going to do this? So we get the family on the same page from the very beginning as to why they're even embarking on this journey, on this conversation. What the heck is it? Why is it important? Well, you're going to lose all your money. Your family unity is going to break. You know, the intangible assets of the family is going to be gone. And then how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to invest 30 minutes a month, which is what we immediately go into after that presentation. And depending on which of our projects we're on, we spend 30 minutes and we identify a social style. We identify the core values. We identify the shared core values. We set a 3-year vision. And we do all of this prior to walking into the family meeting. The other thing that we do that I think really just lowers the guard a lot is after our 4 30-minute consultation in one of our projects, we propose an agenda for the family meeting, and we show it to little Johnny, we show it to little Susie, we get all their input, we show it to mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever's invited to the family meeting gets equal input as to what's on that agenda. So that gets buy-in, that gets engagement. So then when we walk into the family meeting, we've done all the assessments, we've done all the pre-work, and now we have an agenda where we can sit down, eyes up, and communicate, look one another in the eye, and really have an impactful family meeting. So we do a lot of pre-work. Really, we take a very practical approach. If you have an important meeting, whether it's at work, church, family, you prepare for it. And that's what our technology allows us to do. And that's a big way that we're a little bit different. We completely concur that the family meeting is essential to multi-generational success, but we just prepare for it a little bit different way. And we try to keep our family meetings shorter and far more impactful, 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours max, and leave with a lot of clarity and momentum as we jump into the next project.
Great. You know, and that's one of the nice things about the world that we live in is, you know, we can have different ways of doing things and still be effective in what we're doing. I love,
sure.
You know, Shawn, I love your software.
Thank you.
And as we've talked about it before, have not had the ability to tap into it, and I think I just found a way that might happen. And I think for some families, that is going to be super powerful to deal with. The flip side of that, though, is I found some families that unless you sit them down and bring them together and make these things happen, without, you know, they're not going to show up for the 30-minute meetings to invest those things. They need that big reason to all be there And I think Tom's, method of doing that brings a lot of those families together. I've got one in my head that I'm just thinking about. And if I ask them to show up for a 30-minute meeting once a month, I'm going to get about 50% buy-in. Nobody's going to do the work. And I really need them to, to do things differently.
We don't have that. We don't have that problem at all, because we set the expectation in that initial Zoom meeting where we go through the what, the why, the how, that this is what we need from you. And I will say I need approximately 8 hours from you over 6 months. If investing 8 hours over 6 months, including the family meeting, is too much time for you to invest back into family unity, creating a shared vision, et cetera, then this isn't for you. But if you can spare 8 hours over 6 months, then we're going to make a tremendous amount of progress. I have a family meeting July 2nd with a family that engaged with us June 26th, and we had a meeting yesterday to finalize the agenda. And we look back over the year, and they can't believe the progress they've made in a year, because we take this baby step approach. You take 1,000 baby steps, you look over your shoulder, and you've walked a mile. And that's a big part of how we do it. So we have tremendous engagement on those 30-minute consultations, because it's also convenient. I have the next generation that will do it if they're walking down the street in Manhattan headed to a meeting. My rule is, I don't care what you're doing, as long as you're clothed and you give me 30 minutes of focus a month. That's all I care about. Or keep your camera off, either way. But no, we have tremendous engagement on the 30-minute consultations, because I think once families go through our process, they realize how impactful that time is. When we get to the family meeting, we really hit the ground running with guards down and communication up. So yeah, we have a lot of engagement on those at this point.
Great. And maybe it's, as we all say, we come to everything that we do with our own biases. So maybe it's just, my biases in terms of looking at the family and how I think that they learn.